What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to Casual Shenanigans Tech, the little brother podcast of Casual Shenanigans Gaming, where me and Dave, hey Dave,
hey guys,
we answer your tech questions, mostly your computer questions. You write in and we answer them, and we've been a little bit slow about answering. We've been kind of doing this once a month because we didn't have that many questions coming in, so we didn't need to do it more often. Well, I am looking at like eight different people writing in here in the last month, so we're going to try to speed these up a little bit. Actually, not the last month, the last 2 weeks. Holy crap. So we're going to try to...
You guys just can't do anything by yourselves all of a sudden. Come on now.
Oh, all right. Oh, dick. About me, he's kind of right. So, no, we're happy to help. We really like doing it, and so let's dive right in and start the show as we always do with the Rig Report.
Rig
report. Okay, I didn't remember if we had one. I was ready with a backup. So I moved to your town, actually, as it were.
Welcome to my town.
Hello. And with that comes leaving behind the wonderful fiber internet that I had before and moving all of my computers into a new location. So I'm sure, as you know, like the most stressful part about actually, maybe this hasn't happened to you anytime recently, but when you go to a new location with your computer, until the computer is set up and you turn it on and everything's working and it survived the trip, you just can't relax.
You don't understand, Jeremiah. The day that I knew that this was going to be home was with bare sheetrock in the living room. I had plugged in the network cable, we activated the internet, and the only piece of furniture in the sheetrocked but unpainted living room was this crappy little like Goodwill nightstand with just the modem and the router on top. No insulation in the ceiling yet. It was like 34 degrees in the room, but there was Wi-Fi. And that's when I knew it was home.
Yeah, and my computer, fortunately, is working just fine. The Smasher is up and running. It's going to get moved to a new location when some dust filters get here, and I'm going to tie all of the cables down. But I've ordered some Ethernet. I'm running Ethernet through the wall into the shop next door, or into the like little workshop thing. And I'm running speaker wires now. It's
barely a workshop. Let's call it the HVAC closet, because that's what it really is.
Right now, I call it the Iron Dungeon because it has the lifting equipment.
Well, that works too, I suppose.
Come on, Iron Dungeon. It's a pretty cool name.
I gotta say, I already miss your fiber because we were uploading all of our Arma mods over it, and it was, man, you could do like 5 megabytes up to multiple people with the Arma mod pack and still be like uploading to YouTube, live streaming.
I mean, honestly, it really just meant that I never cared. Like download, you could tell because you could max out on a Steam game or something, but upload, you just never notice. You just do whatever the heck you want, and it's fine. So I do kind of miss that, but you know, as soon as I get Comcast to give us our full whopping 10 megabit upload, it should be a bit better. So
still double mine.
Anything new on your rig lately?
Actually, just more on the internet front, actually, because I've been working from home recently, and it's really hitting the old internet hard. It's up until recently it was least reliable internet, but it's expensive and it's not great. I looked today, and to get the equivalent package without caps, because my home internet has caps of 500 gigs, the business package would cost an extra $200 on top of what I'm already paying.
At least with Comcast, when they have a cap, and they don't in this area yet, thankfully, but when they do have a cap, for $35, you can just have the cap removed. Like, so it's the type of thing where I know, knowing them, they price it just low enough that people like me are like, well, that's worth it. But for you, there's no option.
Yeah.
I mean, you live like 10 minutes away now, and there's no option.
Yeah, because they divided the town in half. You have Comcast, and I have their direct competitor. But, I mean, to give my ISP some credit, as annoying as caps are, seeing I had unlimited for 5 years, like it sucks to kind of go backwards. The extra 50 gigs over my 500 is $10. Like, it's actually the exact same price that you pay. So it's not like an overage fee. It's just you buy an extra chunk for the month.
And is that unlimited? Like, can you buy as many chunks as you need?
Yeah, they don't ever go up in price as far as I can tell. It's just always $10 for each extra 50 gigs.
Cool. Cool.
I haven't hit it yet. I've gotten the closest I've gotten was like 478, which is pretty close. But yeah, other than that, rig report, it's all good over here, sir. How are you?
All right, let's get into it.
Sweet.
Lanky Soldier wrote in, longtime listener of the podcast, and he has a question for us. He says, "Hello there, you filthy casuals," and Joel. Joel might listen to this. We'll see. He says, "I'm sorry I don't stay long during the live streams." He's talking about Casual Shenanigans Gaming. We don't live stream this because we always record this way late in the evening when we don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But I have to get my beauty sleep as I don't want to hate myself during my working hours for lack of sleep. But as always, I re-listen to everything while commuting on the train. It's been the standard for years now. Wow, this podcast has existed for 2 years. Amazing, right? Well, it's been 3. But thank you for listening. But thank you for listening for 2. I once wrote in asking if I should upgrade to an FX 8300 from his FX 6300 or build a new PC with an i7. Well, I managed to save some more money, and for my own personal project and plans, I decided to build another one. So I have about £600 or $900. I made a draft list, so please give any recommendations. Maybe some parts don't work together or something. Maybe I can swap some parts around for my second PC or get something better if the budget allows it. Purpose of this computer, same as the current one, playing games, recording, editing, etc. I decided to build a second one because I want to offload some of the pressure my current computer has and planning for the future at the same time. I'd love to play games on the new PC while my old one is doing all the recording and other heavy lifting. I'm not worried about buying an Elgato right now, as that's the last thing on my list. I can buy that anytime. Regarding the build, we don't need RAM or a hard drive, as I managed to get 16 gigabytes and 2 terabyte hard drive for half price thanks to the Amazon Christmas sale. Other parts weren't on sale. Sadly, the GPU is also fine. I have 2 AMD GPUs that work just fine. I got them ages ago, an R9 270 and an R9 290X. So here is the list. So he has one computer, which is an FX 6300, an R9 290X, which he's going to put in the R9 270 because this will be like a recording computer.
Right.
Gigabyte motherboard, 600 watt EVGA power supply, 8 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte and 1 terabyte hard drives, and Windows 8.1 stock cooler. He's not a big fan of overclocking, so he'd prefer it if the computer runs great or perfect without overclocking. And his draft list for the second computer is a 4790K, the R9 290X from the first computer. It's going to go into this one. A Gigabyte Z97 motherboard, a EVGA 600 watt power supply, 16 gigs of RAM, which he already owns, a 2 terabyte hard drive he already owns, a 500 gig 850 Evo, Windows 8.1, a Hyper 212 Evo or Cooler Master RR 212E, which I'm not really familiar with, and then a cheap case. And then his extras that he might want later are an Elgato, and then he asks monitors. Are 144 hertz monitors worth the money? 144 hertz is not 1440p ones the way I understand, right? I do understand how the refresh rate works, but not sure if they are worth the money. 1080p is fine as long as it's smooth. Okay, so we'll deal with his list first. I think the list is great. List is fine.
Yeah, that's a great starting point for sure.
Get the Hyper 212. It doesn't matter if it's the Evo or whatever else. The Hyper 212 is the best bang for the buck cooler there is. I mean, period. Like, it really is that good.
Said Jeremiah in 2009 and still today.
And it'll do a great job of keeping your 4790K very cool. The 4790K is a great choice. It runs stock at 4 gigahertz.
Nice.
And 2 cores, I believe, can turbo up to 4.4 for like a quick task. But at 4 gigahertz, I think it's the fastest clock speed of any Intel processor, like it's stock. So it's a great option. R9 290X, great. Your motherboard, you're probably overpaying a tiny bit for a Z97 chip if you're not going to overclock, but it's probably an $100 board anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. The 500 gig SSD, great. Windows 8.1, fine. Like, all that's fine. For a case, if you want a cheap case, Corsair 200R is a good cheap one. If cheap means like $100, the Fractal R5 or Dave's Corsair C70.
That's right. Include it.
If you want something that looks like an ammo box, Dave has one of those. I don't know if they're allowed.
Or a Stormtrooper ammo box, or a Black Future ammo box.
I don't know if they're allowed to buy things that look like ammo boxes in England, but if you can, Yeah,
Just put a powdered wig on top. It'll
your list is totally fine. I mean, if you do want to save budget, like I didn't even do the math to see how much all that costs because it's a great list. If you can fit it in your budget, do it. It's perfectly fine.
Yep.
That 4790K should last you for years. For a recorder, Elgato would be a great recorder. I use an Elgato HD60 for the potato masher. It records 60 frames per second, 1080p, and like 40 megabit. So pretty high quality.
Nice.
Now it's worth mentioning he has an R9 290X, so he's not going to use Shadowplay, but there is the AMD equivalent, and you might test it out because if it gives you really high quality, you might decide you want to record 1440p or something else. But an Elgato, if you want to spend the money, it's like $150, I think. It's a great recorder. I haven't had really any software issues or anything. It can do live streaming, all that stuff. And then, okay, so on monitors, Dave, are 144 hertz monitors the same as 1440p?
They can be.
Aha.
If you throw enough money at them.
All right, so what's the deal with those?
Honestly, I have not personally seen 144 hertz monitors in person. I think we've actually mentioned this before on the podcast, and I feel like
You've seen a 120 though, haven't you? I feel like you've seen 120.
I've seen one. That's true. I've seen Edgar's 120s, and they're really, really neat. Like if you primarily game on your computer, refresh rate might want to be where you focus. For me personally, like I'm big on like maximum graphics. And also I do a lot of, artwork, Photoshop, 3D work, and that sort of thing. So resolution actually to me means a little bit more than refresh rate. So like 60 hertz, that's my sweet spot. For you, if the games are more important, 144 might be where you want to land on that.
And it's not, and that's the thing, 144 hertz, it's not really going to matter for a lot of games. Like realistically, let's say he wants to play like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Mm-hmm.
You have to turn the settings down so far to play at 1080p and 144 frames per second that it's probably not worth it to most people. Most people would probably rather have 60 hertz and 1080p, 60 FPS, 1080p locked, awesome settings. But if you play really competitive shooters, you play Counter-Strike, you play Call of Duty,
GTA 5.
Not GTA 5. If you play like Counter-Strike especially, or TF2, maybe Dota, League of Legends, people like that. Anything where reaction time is super important. 144 hertz, people who use them say once you try it, you'll never want to go back. Now, personally, I feel like once you go 4K, you'll never want to go back. But so I guess there are multiple things you might or might not want to go back from. But yeah, the thing is, if you want 144 hertz, that's not that expensive. You can get a 1080p one for like $200, $200 to $250. If you want a 1440p monitor, that's not that expensive. You can get one of those for $300 to $400 for a nice IPS one.
Yeah.
If you want a 144 hertz 1440p monitor, you're looking at $500 to $700. Period.
Yes, that is like the premium market right now. That's like early adapter.
Right.
Tech. That's bleeding edge right there.
So from Dave and I's experiences, if you're gaming, I think both of us would probably choose 1440p and 60 hertz over 1080p and 144 hertz. Would you agree?
I would say that if my SSD is like my most like computer changing purchase in the last 10 years, going to 1440p is like number 2. Like it was a huge leap. I'm sure 4K. I mean, I've seen your monitor. It's the next level.
And here's the thing: if you can possibly go look at one in a store, if there's, I don't know what they have in the country you live in, but if there's some way you could go look at a 144 hertz and a 1440p or something in a store, you could probably tell the difference yourself. It's really not a bad choice either way. It's just whatever you prefer, but with the full admission that we have not really used 144 hertz and we can't give you long-term thoughts on it, we both really like high resolution. So do with that what you will, but keep in mind that it is going to be harder for your card to run either of those options than just a 1080p 60 hertz monitor, which will be like $130 to $140 for a nice one. So, all right. Up next is Dylan's question. Dylan wrote into casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like you can. And he says, Hey there, I literally just found your channel through Dave's Fallout 4 Fortress Sanctuary build, and I'm loving the podcast. Dave, how many people have found that video? What are you up to now, like 200 grand?
Yeah, 207,000 or so.
Dang,
Yeah.
dude, that's climbing fast. I keep telling you, that's going to be your first million. That's going to be first million views right there.
It's quite possible. And yeah, I'm when we recorded that, I was like, man, I spent way too much time on that. But now I'm just like, man, I'm glad I spent a lot of time on this.
I think in 3 or 4 months, it's going to pass the first Potato Masher video. I'm going to guess, which I don't even know what that's up to. But
it has been really cool to see how many people have like actually found the podcast and like the army videos and whatnot off that. It's been neat to see that.
Yeah, it has been really cool. Okay, so mine, first Potato Masher video is at 541.
Yeah.
I'm going to say within 3 months. So by April 19th, I think that video is going to pass it, but we'll see.
Or
Anyway.
I can just one-up myself again and just upload the best Fallout sex mods and just instantly get a bajillion views with community violating thumbnails, which is apparently the way to win.
I'm sure this is a really stupid question to ask. Are there enough different sex mods to do a compilation?
I'm really proud of the fact that I can't answer that question.
Okay.
All I can say is apparently every piece of World War II like suggestive nose art has been used for a Fallout mod video though, because if you look at my video and just look down the sidebar, it's like every suggested video, Fallout 4 sexy mod improved.
Anyway, poor Dylan. Dylan didn't deserve this. Okay, so he says, I'm a console whore at the moment. Don't call yourself that. It's not, we make fun of it good-naturedly, but we all have consoles.
Yep.
I want to build my first gaming PC. I have some questions. Firstly, do you guys run Windows 7, 8, or 10, and why?
Oh, here we go.
I run all three.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So we both love Windows 7. Windows 7's OG. Everyone can agree with that. Windows 7 is probably the first time, like the only time in the past 10 years where Microsoft made something and everyone just went, oh, well, that's pretty good. And then just moved on.
I'm going to break away here for a second, Jeremiah. I no longer enjoy using Windows 7. I actually really don't enjoy when I have to go back and use
Hold on.
I
I'd say Windows 7's OG in the sense that it was a great operating system.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I had to upgrade from Windows 7 because I got a high DPI monitor, and Windows 7 has garbage support for high DPI.
Yes.
You moved to Windows 8, I'm guessing because you wanted to upgrade, you wanted something a little newer?
Yeah, newest drivers, and also, it sounds so dumb, but you know, I'm a power user. I move a lot of like image files, video files. I love the new Explorer and the new Task Manager. Like the new Task Manager, why did it take 10 years to improve on that thing?
Yeah, the Task Manager is good. I don't agree with you on the menu screen or the start menu. I was never really a fan of that, but
yeah. Well, I was the guy who back in the day on XP, I ran the like the Yahoo shortcut bar thing where you can make app shortcuts like with like a button you would press and it would do like a full screen shortcut menu. So for me, Windows 8 was like, Microsoft paid attention to my specific individual needs. Which is not at all true. Anyway, yeah, I ran 8, and now I'm running 10 as of a month ago, actually.
Mm-hmm. And that was pretty smooth, right? You said it was your smoothest upgrade experience yet? Yeah,
I started it, I was on holiday for Christmas and New Year's, and I started it in the morning, went and got like a cup of coffee and came back, and it was waiting on me. It took like 20 minutes to upgrade, and everything just worked. It was, I had to reset my Fallout 4 like resolution, and then that was it. It was great. And then I just turned off like, Cortana and all the extra stuff. Like I just shut all the new ease of use stuff down because I'm once again a power user and I have control again. It works for me. It's free.
All right. So, and I use 8.1 right now. I use 7 on the Potato Masher and the Smasher. I use 10 on my laptop. I'm actually kind of happy with all of them. 10 still bugs me in a few ways, and that's maybe not want to upgrade, but I probably should just bite the bullet and do it. Because there's stuff about 8.1 that bugs me too, so I guess it's not.
Out of curiosity, what about 10 irks you?
I wish Microsoft would commit to a stupid menu design, because you go into the settings menu and I'm like, well, I don't want the peasant settings. Like, where are the settings? And then you have to click and it brings up the old menu. I'm like, well, this is two completely different design languages, 100% different design languages.
Yes.
The main one that you want is just the evolution of the one that's been in XP. So yeah, that really bothers me because I find myself having to go several layers deep for a lot of that. And then maybe this is something that can be changed. When I want to find an app, normally I click open the start menu and I just start typing.
Yes.
And 10 wants to search the internet every stinking time.
Sometimes
it finds the app, and then sometimes it's like, well, I have no C Cleaner. We've never heard of C Cleaner before. What's this program called? All right, you make a good point. We did have that installed. Oopsie. I guess I should be doing that in Cortana's voice. I have Cortana switched off, but yeah, it's those two things are like I get what you're trying to do, but I don't want this. Like I wish, and I know this is a pipe dream, I wish when you did the upgrade, it could ask you, do you care? Here's the new features. Do you care? And you can click no, and then just move on.
Oh, well, the problem is every previous user would go, I don't like change. You would just click no to everything. Like, do you want Windows updates to install? No. And I actually had to look just because you were talking about it. You click on the search button in 8, the gear, and then there's a toggle right there, search online and include web results, off or on. So it's 2 clicks, and there's the option. Right where I thought it might be.
Okay. So those are our reasons.
Mine was toggled off.
Those are our reasons for running those 2 operating systems. But now, on to his main question. This is his first computer, Dylan's first computer. He's building on a budget right now. He's left the parts list below. He's aiming for around 500 pounds, including Windows, and he's wondering what could be improved and what in the future should be upgraded first. Sorry for the long email. I love the show. Thanks. Good luck on Normand. Thank you, Dylan. He also writes in, this is a build apparently that Jack Frags has designed and listed, I guess, on his website or something on his YouTube channel as a good, cheap build. And Dylan wants us to look at it and go, what's good, what's not so good, change some bits or offer a completely different build if we think he should get something different. And he wants to be able to run Fallout 4 with lots of mods. Is this okay? He has no intention of editing videos or photos or any PC destroying Adobe Flash stuff. Literally just a gaming PC.
That's what he thinks for now. Although I have to give him props, like from Fallout straight to podcast, straight into Norman. Like that's hardcore. Welcome to the party.
I do wonder when people find us that quickly, how does that go?
Yeah. What goes? How do you get from Fallout to Joel's Norman madness? That is an interesting journey.
So Dave, do you see his list?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is his list? This is, I guess, Jack Fragg's list. But what's the list?
The case is a Bit Phoenix Comrade, which are 3 words that I think came out of a random word generator. I don't think that's a real thing. Oh, Google says it is.
It's a decently cheap too, $60 case. Good looking case. Bit Phoenix makes some nice stuff.
Yeah, that's actually a very understated case. I actually like that. Is that a tasteful logo on the front? Oh my. I mean, we have a light-on DVD drive. That's like a default. I think Newegg should just add that along with the Hyper 212 to your cart. Like,
and the 1 terabyte Western Digital Caviar Blue. Oh, look, what's farther down the list? No, it's a Barracuda.
Wait.
It's a Barracuda.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a Barracuda. What's happening? An EVGA 500 watt power supply. This is 80 plus. I'd imagine that's bronze, probably.
Yeah.
AMD FX 6300. Gigabyte GA 970A for the motherboard. 8 gigs of Crucial RAM. An R9 270X for the graphics card. And good old Windows 7 for the operating system.
So, what are your first thoughts on the list there?
So first thoughts, I think AMD actually might be a pretty good performer for Fallout 4 because I've noticed on my 3930K, it's actually really well threaded. Like it's fantastic. Really? Yeah.
Okay. And what? So it's really good for multi-threads, multiple processors, is what you're saying?
Yes, it uses a chunk of all 6 of my cores, which is pretty impressive. And this is a 6-core AMD. AMD generally, loses the core versus core race with Intel. So if you're playing Arma or DayZ, where single core performance, just that the small numbers of cores being faster, if that really matters, for games like Arma and DayZ, AMD generally comes up short. But if Fallout 3 is performing like I've seen it perform, where it likes those multiple cores, even if they're a little bit slower, then this CPU actually would probably do quite well for Fallout.
Now, here's the only thing I'm wondering, and I'm putting together a list right now. Since I don't know, his budget is £500 or euros. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, it's pounds. £500, including Windows. So I want to see what is this build up to as is, see if we can improve it. Because I'm wondering if one of the new Skylake i3 dual cores, like hyper-threaded dual core, that will definitely be better for just pure gaming. If we can make it work in the budget. And that's what I'm not sure yet. So I'm working on that right now.
A dual core in 2016.
Hyper-threaded dual core. Have you seen what those new Skylake dual cores are doing?
That's true. That's okay.
That dual core is neck and neck with a 2500K.
Okay.
A stock clock 2500K, but a 2500K, which was the gaming quad core like 4 years ago. So I'm saying,
where it kind of gets into like a splitting hair scenario, because you kind of get into the technical issues of like applications have to be so carefully programmed to be able to divide that part of an idle core in a CPU into multiple tasks. Like
when it comes to clock speed,
out loud here.
Yeah, when it comes to clock speed, Intel wins performance per clock. They do. That's just how it is. So, if I were in the same position and just wanted to play games, I would be looking to see if I can make Intel work. Because the FX 6300 is a 3.5 gigahertz hexacore, which really, if you want to do apples to apples, is really like a hyper-threaded triple core. Okay. And then the i3 6100 is a 3.7 gigahertz hyper-threaded dual core. So real quick, I'm almost done with the price list. I think Mr. Jack Fraggs' price list, I think this is a slightly older build.
It seems like it.
It's not bad at all, but there is a chance here. There's a chance we might have something good for you to look at in a second. He's choosing Windows 7. Windows 8.1 is cheaper, so I'm going to choose that. I am not good with pounds. I'm telling you what. I'm trying to do this conversion in my head as I go, and it is not working even a little bit. I'm going to go with a different bit Phoenix, just to be contrarian. Okay, I think I have everything right. Okay, so here's what I've got. An i3 6100, which is a 3.7 gigahertz hyper-threaded dual core. A gigabyte DDR3 motherboard, because Skylake can go DDR3 or DDR4 depending on the motherboard. 8 gigs of Crucial RAM, 1 terabyte Western Digital Caviar Blue hard drive, a GTX 950 graphics card, a Bit Phoenix Neos case, 500 watt power supply, light on DVD burner, Windows 8.1, 484 pounds.
Nice. Very nice.
So I'm not picking on Jack Fraggs' build. I think it's just older. This is better for gaming. Would you agree?
I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're on it. I think it is an older build, is what I would say for sure. Because
the FX 6300 has always been the go-to recommendation for $100 gaming builds, really. Like, don't listen to people who recommend the Intel G3258. It's dual core, no hyper-threading. Modern games have problems with only 2 cores. Don't do it. But a hyper-threaded dual core is still fine. And Intel is kind of unofficially letting motherboard makers create motherboards that can overclock these processors. And people have done overclocks, and for gaming, they're making these 2100s like run close to 3570Ks at stock clocks.
Man.
Yeah, so like we might be seeing some actual good budget Intel overclockers in the near future. But Dylan, we're going to send you the link to this parts list. If you have any questions, write back to us. Like, we don't know all the same stores and everything that you have in your neck of the woods. So we might be like way off on some of that. On like, maybe you're like, oh, eBuyer, that's a terrible store. Why would you send me a link to them? Oh, we didn't know. We're sorry. Let us know. We'll see what we can do. But right back into us. And we've had actually several people write back into us and say their build were done. Slow P77. What is his name? Ivan. Ivan said, blah, blah, blah. Effing amazing. Thanks so much. I think you guys have just built me a computer. I'm going to go right off your suggestions. Seems like a great build. Blah, 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 blah. And then he writes in 2 weeks later. He says, and so it begins. So far, so good. The Hyper 212 can be twisted when installed. Hopefully I didn't screw that up. Everything else seems easy enough. And then it's done.
Okay, he shouldn't feel bad because when I installed it on my brother's computer, I installed it 90 degrees the wrong direction. So, yeah.
And then he says, it's done. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for the advice and insight. Now I need to upgrade my monitor to a 4K IPS display and I'll be set. He sent some pictures. Did you see those pictures by any chance?
I did not. I'm actually not seeing the email that you're referring to.
Okay, it's from Slow P. It's on the 13th of January now. He wrote in a couple times because we talked to him on the last episode. Yeah. So if you look at his most recent email, that is a sharp looking build. That is some good cable management right there.
Yeah, I also like the finish on the Zotac card and the power supply. That kind of like, it's not marbled, but it's like rough metal
sand,
finish.
It's almost like it was sand that was kind of like blasted on and coated a little bit, something like that.
Yeah. It's like enamel coated sand.
There's probably a real name for that, but
I'm gonna go with enamel coated sand.
Very good cable management. Everything looks great, man. I'm glad you like it. Congrats.
Nice.
But that is the show for this week. As you can see, it's a little bit shorter. But our hope is that we can turn these around quicker so that you're not waiting a month to get a reply from us. Because at the beginning we said this was going to be every 2 weeks podcast. So yeah, we're still trying to do that. We're going to get these up to you guys a little bit quicker. As always, if you want to get them earlier, you can support us on Patreon and you'll get them a bit earlier. If you throw us a couple bucks, and they're out for everybody about usually 4 days to a week, depending on what other stuff we have coming out. So, although if you write into the show, we always send you a link to it as soon as it's ready, so you can get some advice and hopefully buy stuff for your build. So thank you everyone for coming out. You can follow us on Twitter at casualshenanigans, at Evil Viking, at Germ Gaming, and on YouTube, Casual Shenanigans, Evil Viking 13, Germ Gaming. But Dave, got anything else for us?
Man, that was like a copy and paste right there. You're getting good at this.
It's almost like I do this a couple times a week.
For 3 years. Yeah, it was fun stuff. Good builds tonight, and it was cool to see some photos of some of the builds in progress.
Yeah,
more of that, please.
Yeah, if we write in and you write in and we help you with your build, please write back to us when it's all done. We would love to hear how it all went. Even if, it sounds terrible, we'd still love to hear.
You can judge your rigs on the rig report for you guys.
Oh, we should do that. I could even splice in the pictures or something. Send us your PM us your rigs.
Guys, you hear that? If you send us pictures, Jeremiah will have to do more work. Do it.
Thank you guys. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys next time.